taking pictures
of protein, pancake, do-it-yourself wellness shots.
Got the sun in my hair, blue in your eyes. I could lay here all my life. Time moves slowly, green goes from my high. I can't get enough of you, baby. It's the love for me. Said that it's the me for you. You know how to make me feel pretty when you say you need me.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, May 10th. Oh, hold on. Okay, protein pancakes, my usual. Today I have an exciting video. I've been, oh my god, looking forward to this for so freaking long. Okay, so you guys have been following me for a long time. You guys know that I've suffered from anxiety disorder, depression, binge eating. I was recently diagnosed with IBS and I had gone through like a bunch of hospital visits, painful bloating. I got every test you could ever think of, x-ray, ultrasound, CT scan. It was rough, okay? The last couple of months, ooh, bad. So I had to actually switch up my entire diet to avoid these IBS triggers, and I've been dealing with this bloating for a couple of months now, and honestly I've reached the point where I'm just frustrated. I don't know what to do. If I eat one single piece of white bread, I am bloated for weeks, and I look pregnant, and it is painful, and it just makes my fitness journey it just ruins it because I honestly feel like everything that I did, all my progress, like I honestly feel like I will never have visible abs. I will never have a flat stomach because of this bloating. It's been so bad. So I finally got really exhausted and I decided to research natural medicine. I was just tired of all this medications that doctors are putting me on, all these tests. I was just tired. So I searched up naturopathic doctors, and I was actually really surprised to see that they had some in Ottawa, and there was one right down the street from my house. And I ended up doing some research, and it was a little bit sketchy, I'm not gonna lie to you, because they didn't really have no pricing online. They didn't really have no progress, like how does this whole process work? So I was a bit like, I don't know about this, right? So I decided to talk to my friends about it, and my friend was like, yo girl, like I really think like this is what is gonna help you, like they're gonna be very thorough, blah blah. So I was like, all right, let me call, get some information. I won't do it, but let's see. I called them up. They were so polite, sweet lady on the phone. You know, she talking about, oh, what's your history, blah blah blah, here's the process. So in this video I want to show you, I just want to document the whole process, because today, that's why I'm so excited, today at 2:30 is my first appointment, and it is an hour long. So today, this morning, I have to gather all the supplements that I've ever taken, all my medications, and I have to bring them in, and she's gonna run some tests on me. She's gonna do all these things, and they're gonna figure out what the problem is, and then they're gonna put me on a strict diet, a strict protocol. I may have to take supplements, I may have to take something. She's gonna do all that for me. There was two doctors. There was a naturopathic doctor and there was a natural medicine doctor. I chose the natural medicine doctor because she specialized in gastrointestinal health, and she treats patients with IBS. So that's right up my alley. So I chose her. I'm gonna see her today, discuss my entire history. There is a huge intake form, very thorough, goes back, like talks about all your symptoms, your supplements, your medications, every single thing. This is really what I was looking forward to, because I really wanted someone to just sit down, listen to all the symptoms I have, because every single doctor I've been to just tells me that it's just stress. It's just stress. You know how many times I've been told it's stress, and it's like, to be any less stressed, I'd have to be dead. Really. Really, you know? So I'm really excited about today, and I'm really looking forward to this journey, you know? And I'm hoping to fix my bloating. And I purposely waited till today to get groceries because I wanted to make sure that none of the things I was eating or the supplements were triggering my IBS. So after the appointment, we're gonna go grocery shopping, and I'll take you along for that. So today's a really exciting day, So I'm happy to take you along. So first, let's go eat. Let's go to the gym, and then let's go to the naturopathic doctor. Hi guys, it's me, Shay. I'm back. So if you've been keeping up with my updates, I had told you guys that I had recently been diagnosed with IBS. So IBS is an intestinal issue that causes painful cramping, bloating, and indigestion. So it took me multiple hospital visits and medical tests for my doctor to finally conclude it must be IBS. There is no cure for IBS, and it's something that you have to manage over a long term. So the changes you make will have to be the changes that you will carry on throughout your life. After doing some research, I found out that the gut and your brain have a connection. Do you ever have some bad or upsetting news and you just feel feel like your stomach drop. That's what that means by your brain and gut are connected. So my mental health was directly related to my IBS symptoms. Things like stress, cortisol, and anxiety made my symptoms worse. I like to stay positive about things, so for me, I thought this was a way to really prioritize my mental health and to focus on managing my stress levels. Staying active is one of the things that they recommended, so I work out 5 days a week, and on rest days, I try to make them active rest days by taking a walk or hike or something. So one of the first things you have to do is an elimination diet. This is where you try to identify triggers in your diet. So this is harder than it sounds because sometimes it's a mix of things that causes a flare. I kind of knew that I had a sensitivity to bread and anything processed, so my first thing I decided to cut out was anything white. So white bread, white rice, white oatmeal, white pasta. I switched everything to whole wheat or whole grain. This actually really helped. So now that I identified this was a trigger, I could continue to eliminate things. I switched my whey protein for plant proteins. I lowered my sugar intake. I limited my processed foods. It seemed like I was doing everything, but I was still having flare-ups. These flare-ups could last days to weeks. So imagine looking 6 months pregnant and just being in constant pain from the bloat and just nothing helped. I tried lemon juice, peppermint tea, green tea, magnesium, CBD oil, antidepressants, fiber, gas pills, acid reflux medicine. Ooh, that was a mouthful. Nothing worked. I tried looking up some natural ways to help my IBS, and I found out about naturopathic medicine. I started looking into it and I got super excited because I thought maybe this would finally help my IBS once and for all. I read the testimonials and it was people who had similar symptoms to mine and they had relief. So I found a place close to my home and started doing some research. I found it very fishy that they had no price listings on the website. It just kept telling me to call in and find out what they offered. So I made the call. The person who answered was very friendly but seemed really nervous. They kept stumbling over their words and it was almost as if they were calculating what to say. So she gave me a breakdown of the pricing. She told me that they had a woman whose specialty is naturopathy, but her pricing was higher. They had a natural medicine specialist and her pricing was cheaper. She also specialized in patients with IBS. So I went with the one who specialized in IBS. Her name was Ramilla. So the price listing was as follows: $124 for the initial intake visit and the follow-up visit, $134 for the follow-up appointment after that. So at a first glance, these seem pretty pricey, but considering they weren't covered by our healthcare system, which is OHIP, I thought, why not give it a chance? I really had nothing to lose at this point. I made an appointment and I got an intake form with all of these questions about my medical history. At this point, I felt like I really was finally being listened to. I was given the attention that I really needed. I just wanted somebody to actually listen to my symptoms and understand what I was going through instead of constantly being told by my doctors that it was just stress. So I made a huge list of all my symptoms and I made a timeline of when I started experiencing them. I wanted to be as thorough as possible and I have a habit of forgetting things. So I filled out the form. I showed it to my appointment extremely anxious. I wasn't sure what was really going to happen. They told me that they were going to do some testing and I wasn't really sure what that meant. So the front desk had a huge stack of pills. Finally met Ramilla. She was nice, you know. She was shocked that I had been so thorough in my notes and told me that's usually what the hour-long appointment was for. So everything that she would have to go through with me included health history, lifestyle, etc. It was in my notes. To me, it seemed kind of odd that it seemed like I had threw her off. So she was now scrambling for something for us to do during our hour appointment. So I told her that I really felt frustrated that I've had every test in the book and they couldn't find out what's wrong with me. So just from my symptoms I described to her alone, she determined I had the beast, aka Candida overgrowth. I asked her how she knew this since she didn't do any testing. Also, wouldn't they have shown up on my multiple blood tests? So Candida is naturally occurring in the body, but when there's an overgrowth, that's when it starts to become an issue. So I was a bit skeptical. I had told her that I had insomnia and that I kept waking up at the hours of 3 to 5 a.m. Immediately, she said that's the time period that the liver was inflamed, according to the traditional Chinese organ body clock. Now, I was really skeptical. I told her that I had a full CT scan. If something was wrong with my liver, they would have seen that on the scan. Also, my blood test would have shown that. She said that inflammation wouldn't show up on a CT scan because the liver is functioning properly in a medical sense, but maybe it has a bunch of toxins in it. So I noticed that when she spoke, she really dumbed everything down for me. So I told her that I had a science background and I told her that she could just go into the scientific details as I'm a science-oriented person. So that threw her off a bit, I think, because she realized she couldn't bullshit me. She leaves the room and she goes out and she comes back with a whole table full of medication bottles. She has told me to bring my supplements I was taking with me and was very specific that it could not be the pictures or photocopies of the nutritional labels, that I had to bring the physical bottle. So my eyes opened up when I saw all the bottles on the table and I said, "Are you trying to kill me?" And she laughed. She said, "You're going to get tested now." I said, right now? She goes, yes. So she told me to stand up, that she was going to do something called reflex testing. She wanted me to hold up my arm and lock it, and she was going to have me hold each bottle close to my heart. She was then going to push down on my arm, and if there was a lot of resistance, that meant my body wanted the bottle. If there was a little resistance, it didn't want it. Now, you can kind of see where this is going. You can see how this testing system can be really flawed. I like to observe people, and I noticed that when it came to my products that I had brought personally, she would push down on my arm gently. But when it came to hers, she would push down with all her body weight. Like I even caught her at one point because I hadn't even grabbed the bottle and she was already pushing down on my arm with all this force. So I noticed the differences in her pushing down on my arm, and in reality, she was just controlling which product she wanted me to use. It was all a guessing game. So as I looked at her skeptically, she had eliminated all my supplements except for my antidepressants, which I have to take, and just included all of hers. So I looked at her, I looked at the table of medication bottles, and I said, you want me to take all these? And she said yes. So I definitely had some concerns. This was pretty overwhelming. I said, how long did you want me to take these for? She said by the end of the 2 weeks, I will be down to 3 bottles. I didn't even have the time to process this until she moved on. She sat down and she went over my everyday diet. I already eat pretty healthy and I was managing my symptoms as best as I could. She even told me that I was eating pretty much everything she would have told me to eat. She told me I couldn't drink my herbal teas anymore, which was weird. She said no more kombucha, no sugar, low carb. Anything with sugar, I had to cut it out because this was going to starve, her words not mine, the Candida. She told me that she wanted me to switch bread for these veggie wraps, and she wanted me to change my dressing. So she had packages that she had let me take pictures of, which I included in this video. She made a meal plan for me, which pretty much was foods I was already eating. She gave me a list of Candida friendly foods and those that were not. She told me that I was to go to the front of the desk, which I did. With all the bottles, I knew this had to be expensive. I just asked the girl, what are the prices for these? So she starts listing off $30, $40, $50. So I'm getting more and more anxious. So she finishes with, your total today will be $700. I swear to you guys, I almost broke down crying. She could see that I was really upset, and she tried to convince me that this is for your health, think of it as an investment. So at this point, I had hit every other roadblock. I had no options left. I was just defeated. So I made the decision to try the medication because at this point, this was affecting my life. So I thought that in order to get the treatment, I had to do what she said. So I actually cried after I left her office because I was already struggling financially. I was so upset. I was hopeless. So after 3 weeks on these medications, I can say that these absolutely made no difference. It's sad to say that I wasted $700 on medication that did absolutely nothing for me. The testing that she did was just a guessing game to manipulate me into buying her products. No actual medical testing was done. As a true science person, in order to really test if these medications worked, I kept everything else the same, my diet, my exercise, everything. I still experienced painful bloating. So after 1 week of no difference, I decided to try to cut out broccoli since it seemed to be triggering me the most. And what do you know? It worked. My bloating went down. I wasn't in pain anymore. If y'all jaw didn't drop when you saw how many pills I put up in this bag, yeah. So I am, how do I say this? Spending a lot of money to try to fix my bloating and my IBS problems, right? So this naturopathic doctor done give me this many pills. I looked at her like, you trying to kill me? You really trying to kill me? There's like some B12 in here. There's some stuff for anxiety. Basically, she said that I have the Candida, the beast, okay? And that I have to do a Candida cleanse. So she gave me this anti-Candida diet, and it's all like pretty much the stuff that I've been eating, minus the sugar. It's a low sugar, low carb type diet. And I'm like, girl, I've been doing this. And she's like, yeah, you're right. You know, so it's like, well, what are these pills gonna do? These were expensive. Kind of made a few changes just to cut down on sugar. So I made these do-it-yourself wellness shots. So instead, I used to put orange juice in it, but since I'm cutting down on sugar, I just put water. So there's ginger, lemon juice, mint, ground up fresh mint, a little bit of cinnamon, I think. Yeah, I usually put turmeric too. That's why you get that yellow orangish type beet. I take this in the morning, and I take these pills. These are just for the morning. Yeah, and then I have to take some at dinner. Let's go to the gym. Yay, it's gonna be such an exciting day. I'm so glad I get to bring you along. Okay, let's go. I even documented this to my trainer. He has IBS as well, and he was telling me that the best route is just to identify your triggers and eliminate them. So that's exactly what I did, and it worked. I even Googled Candida cleanse, and there is no actual scientific evidence that the Candida are being starved. Instead, the improvement that people did see is usually when people have a diet full of processed foods, and they just start eating cleaner on this Candida cleanse diet. They cut out all the junk food, so of course they're gonna feel better. I did still want to document my naturopathic experience for anyone who was curious. Honestly, honestly, it was overpriced, overwhelming, and just non-effective for me. I was curious if you guys would like to see more gut health vlogs where I try out things to improve my gut health and show you how I manage my triggers and how I deal with my IBS. So let me know down below if you've ever been to a naturopathic doctor, if you've ever thought about going to one, do you have IBS or gut health problems? If you got it this far, comment some poop emojis, like, you know, the one with the eyes. I think that would be hilarious for people to see in the comment section if they didn't finish the video. So thanks for watching. Bye!